Good afternoon, dear participants of the 32nd International Congress of Psychology. Today I'm going to present my article. The title of my article is Psychological Analysis of Mukhagali Makhatayev's Creativity. First, let me introduce the authors of this scientific article. The first author is Merve Slemkhanovna Tlyubayeva. The second author is Kulyanda Muhamedjanovna Kaliyeva. The third author is Janat Yerikenovna Smankulova. The fourth author is Kaljan Abilayevna Minilbayeva. The fifth author is Manchuk Askarovna Kusainova. The aim of the study is to identify psychological formation of Mukhagali Makhatayev's creativity. The study shows a psychological portrait of Mukhagali Makhatayev's personality, which is analyzed through his letters, diary, biography, autobiography, literary and works and memories of contemporaries and the poems of contemporaries. Research methods: the theoretical, analytical and synthetic, comparative, inductive, deductive, and analysis mathematical methods of processing information, theoretical analysis of literature, and also empirical, autobiographical, content analysis, survey, interview methods are used in this scientific research article. The category is related to arts. Detailed topic is personality. Keywords are creativity, inspiration, and personality. The psychological portrait of the creative people was taken into account, including the period of his life, his political situation, and his environment. Mukhagali Makhatayev is the greatest poet who contributed in classical Kazakh poetry and psychology. Mukhagali Makhatayev's personality manifests itself immediately in all areas of intelligence, emotional volition, and psychology as a whole. As Jusbek Aymautov said, a novel poet is a public speaker and an elected representative by nature and a healer of people. So concerning this statement, we can use it in analyzing Mukhagali Makhatayev's creativity. So now let's turn to the biography of Mukhagali Makhatayev. Mukhagali Makhatayev was born on February 9, 1931, in Karasaz village, now Raimbek, district, Almaty region. Now, Mukhagali Makhatayev started writing poetry at the age of 14 and 15. The ability to compassion, emphasize, do good, be merciful has become the main criterion of the poet in assessing a person. It was vitally important for him that the lines as simple as life and the people understood and fell in love with his creativity. Mukhagali Makhatayev lived a short life but bright, creative life. He spent more than 30 years in his native Karasaz, the last 10 years of his life, excluding 2 years of study in Moscow at the Literary Institute. The rest years were spent in Almaty. Mukhagali Makhatayev is distinguished by his ability to see, perceive, and solve information, and with the ability to see and feel what others do not. While doing our research, we relied on the wise thoughts of Kazakh thinkers, the works of Kazakhstan authors who analyzed the world outlook. In particular, we say Abay Khunambayev, Jusbek Aymautov, Marjan Zhmabayev, and the scientists' works Kubugul Bozaevich Jarikbayev, Berdabayeva, Loginova, Dusenbekov, And American authors James C. Kaufman and R.A. Begetter's scientific psychological research. Now, if we discuss about stages of Mukhagali Makhatayev's creativity, the first stage of the original or creative works written by the poet in 1949 and the 1970 period. The second stage, the poet's works written between the years 1970 and 1972. The last period of the author's work covers the period of 1973 and the 1976 years. So, Mukhagali Makhatayev mainly devoted to the themes of homeland, creativity, the value of life, childhood, social discomfort, and some psychological issues. So, by analyzing his creativity, mainly we found some psychological aspects. They are psychology of the age category, psychology of creativity, behavioral psychology, and the psychology of personality. Mukhaghali's poetry, a powerful drug that awakens the national consciousness and the soul. There is abundant value in his creativity. So mainly, life is legend, life is a river, Mozart's Requiem favorites, this kind of books are in his creativity. So the first song to his poem Sarjailav became popular, and he translated into Kazakh foreign literature, including Walt Whitman, Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, and Russian classics. His name is placed next to the names of Abay Kunanbayev, Avezov, and the other classics of Kazakh literature. So, psychological issues are mainly related in his book When the Swans Are Asleep. And in this poem, Mukhagali Makhatayev depicted a mother's just care when her child was taken ill. She wanted to heal her child with swan's meat. So due to that condition, she just shot swan, and during this process, during this process, her maternal behavior and her maternal care and her unconscious and the conscious state and this kind of psychological mothers just condition we can face in this poem When the Swans Are Asleep. So Mukhagali Makhatayev also depicted psychological temperament. And the reasons are the blows of life and the difficult situation in the family and how he was depressed. All these issues are depicted in his poem, Oh Life. Now let's turn to this poetry. Oh life, you will pass once, and the joy and the laughter will stop. Life is a flash of lightning. Life is a roll of the blue sky. Oh, life, you will pass once. Mukhagali's poems have been satisfying the spiritual needs of the people for many years. That is why there is no one in Kazakhstan who does not recite the poems of the poet of the century. And this is due to the fact that the poet's poems are full of beautiful thoughts, rhythms, syllables, and melodies and harmony. The poem by Mukhagali Makhatayev paints a vivid picture of the experience through words. In psychoanalysis, we evaluate the power of influence that the speaker gives to his words through the tone of his voice, facial expression, body posture, and gestures. We know that the act of speaking can convey not only the meaning of what is being said, but sometimes even express the exact opposite of the meaning of the words. Poetry invites us to reflect on the expressive power of the words. When we read a poem to ourselves, we do not hear our own voice. There is no person in front of us who stands and reads to us so that we can see the expression of his face and his gestures. However, we still hear, see, and feel. Poetry helps us to realize that words are sounds that can move us, even there is no person speaking these words. So, in the work of Mukhagali, there are quite complex psychological states, psychological, emotional, sensory phenomena. For example, for the sake of 5-day pleasure, try not to offend anyone. You are a reasonable person. Do not try to be hostile to anyone. This poem affects a person as if this poem was one in a state of psychological rapid movement of the poet's feelings. This is proved by there is a limit to patience. I want to take a nap. One day I will go crazy if I have feelings on this on the lead. From this, we can conclude that the inner world of the poet is perceived with the past and the present and the human characters. Relationships are illuminated by aphoristic penetration. To put it in his words, it was not his external data, but the inner world, character, thoughts, and the psychology of the poet that attracted everyone. The whole point of his work is his cry of the soul. Mukhagali's creativity consists of a consciousness of the people, national customs, and a national character. As the poet said, Kazakh poems are my dignity. They have as unheard of terrible secret. So, revealing the poet's talent, focusing on inspiration, he explains the feelings of the knowledge and the reason in this way. When there is a poet's talent, the poet's judgment is always next to it. When there is consciousness of a person, then there is poetry. Mukhagali is a sensitive psychologist with a big heart and an excellent logic. So from this slide, you can see Mukhagali Makhatayev's sculpture in his street in Almaty. So glory to and fame to Mukhagali Makhatayev came after his death. By analyzing the results obtained, we can draw conclusions, domestic and foreign psychology, science and creative activity, analysis of psychological theories, and the concepts of theoretical and methodological issues. So, Mukhagali Makhatayev's creativity of poetic and psychologically considered and conducted research on the psychological aspects of the method of analysis of the content. There was created special course program, Mukhagali Makhatayev's creativity on the basis of psychological aspects of Mukhagali Makhatayev's works to the students of psychological department of university. So the differences Mukhagali Makhatayev from other poets are his aspects of poetic skill, expressions, unique laboratory, poetic inspiration, talent, and the psychological aspects of creative use of psychology and the psychology of art. So his personal human peculiarity is that he has common sense and he is able to think abstractly and can deeply pierce the soul of another person. Now, thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, you can write to my email ai/arum@mail.ru.